Chairperson and Senators, thank you for the opportunity to speak today. My name is Ingrid Lyons, and I am the Executive Director of Save the Boundary Waters, a national organization committed to the permanent protection of the Boundary Waters, Canoe Area Wilderness, and its watershed. Starting at 4 years old, I made annual trips with my family from New York City to Ely, Minnesota, where I fell in love with nature. Since joining Save the Boundary Waters in 2015, I have worn many hats, from Arrowhead Regional Organizer to Development Director and Interim Executive Director. I am passionate about environmental advocacy and community engagement and have dedicated my life to protecting the special places that I love. I am here today to strongly support the 20-year mineral withdrawal that bans sulfide ore copper mining in the Boundary Waters watershed. This legislation is critical to protecting America's most visited wilderness and the communities, ecosystems, and economies that depend on its health. Professionally, this legislation directly supports the mission of my organization. The work of Save the Boundary Waters centers on advocacy, education, and scientific research to promote the boundary waters. Passage of this legislation strengthens our efforts to defend public lands and clean water and ensures the longevity of the economic divisions our organization helps to support, especially outdoor recreation and sustainable tourism. From a community perspective, the tax base in northeastern Minnesota is significantly supported by outdoor tourism and small businesses that rely on a clean, accessible wilderness. The Boundary Waters region sustains over 17,000 jobs and annually contributes $900 million to the economy, revenue that is used to support local infrastructures, schools, and other services. Mining threatens those existing streams of revenue with long-term environmental liabilities. Beyond economics, though, this is about our values, about protecting a place that holds cultural, ecological, and recreational significance. The Boundary Waters is a sanctuary, one of the last truly wild places in the lower 48 states. Its loss would be irreplaceable. My support for this legislation is rooted in a belief that some places are simply too precious to put at risk. Sulfide ore copper mining is uniquely hazardous. The EPA calls it the most toxic industry in the United States. Once started, the risk of acid mine drainage and heavy metal contamination can last for centuries. Even modern mines with safeguards have seen catastrophic failures. I recognize the region's mining heritage and the role that taconite and iron mining have played in the past, but sulfide ore mining is fundamentally different. It doesn't supplement the local economy. It threatens to replace a sustainable, diversified economy with a rapid cycle that leaves behind long-term damage. This legislation also has deep implications for Indigenous communities, particularly the Anishinaabe people known in this region as Chippewa or Ojibwe, who hold treaty rights to hunt, fish, and gather in the Boundary Waters region. Sulfide ore mining jeopardizes their wild rice waters, fish populations, and the cultural survival of their practices. Protecting the watershed is not only for environmental stewardship, it is honoring treaty obligations and Indigenous sovereignty. The Boundary Waters was federally designated as a wilderness area in 1964 and further protected in 1978 through the Boundary Waters Canoe Area Wilderness Act. These actions reflect a long-standing bipartisan understanding that this region deserves the highest level of governmental protection. Generations of Americans have fought to keep this area wild, and today we have the responsibility to continue that legacy. Data overwhelmingly supports the withdrawal. Studies from Harvard University, the U.S. Forest Service, and the U.S. Geological Survey all highlight the risks of sulfide ore mining in this watershed. According to a 2022 Harvard study, a mining-based economy would result in fewer jobs and less long-term income than one rooted in outdoor recreation and conservation. Additionally, a poll shows that over 70% of Minnesotans and a bipartisan majority oppose mining near the Boundary Waters. The science is clear, the economics are clear, and the public's voice is clear. According to the U.S. Forest Service, a single mine failure in this watershed could contaminate hundreds of miles of interconnected waterways. One spill, centuries of damage. That is simply a risk that we cannot afford. Senators, this is not just about protecting a place on the map. It's about protecting clean water, community resilience, Indigenous rights, and a way of life. I urge you to support the 20-year mineral withdrawal and ensure that this cherished wilderness remains wild for generations to come. Thank you for your time and your leadership.